studios of the Bakersfield, California. It's time to open up with real people, real talk about real stuff. And now, a special welcome to our friends throughout California, across the nation, and around the world to this week's edition of Open Up.
We are. Surprise.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Don, good morning.
Good morning to you, Tina. You're looking very professional today.
Thank you, Don. It's been a week that has been full of challenges.
Really?
Yes. Coming from the East Coast back to Bakersfield, and it's been one thing after another, a challenge. But I'm so glad that we have a way to overcome challenges.
You bet.
Yeah,
You
so
bet.
anyway.
And
so,
part of that is to drink healthy.
Yes, Don. Nature's Food Market and Juice Bar. This was one of my challenges this morning. I got in a little bit late into their store, and so they put it out just like that. So I want to say a big thank you to Chuck and Wendy Noss, Nature's Fruit Market and Juice Bar, 1918 G Street. You are the best, and we love you, and thank you so much for keeping us healthy.
They are so committed to everyone's health.
Yes, and we
It's
look forward to our new location.
at Henley's, right across from the Fox.
Yes.
So they're really moving on up in the world.
Yes, and don't forget, July 17th coming up, we will have our big birthday giveaway show.
You bet.
Yes, so like us on Facebook, and if Chris will put that on the screen, Facebook is, there it is, facebook.com, Open Up with Don and Tina.
And I've got movie tickets to the Maya and all the popcorn you can eat. So anyway, that's what I'm giving away that day. That's what I love to do.
Yeah, and he'll have more than that, so don't forget to like us.
All right.
Okay, Don, what are we doing today?
We have we're turning to the serious side of things today, folks, and it's very important. You know, we've got a tragedy, a national tragedy going on down at our southern borders with children, young people coming across our borders, seeking a better life, streaming out of poverty-stricken nations down there. And so what should we do? Is there anything we can do? Well, I'll tell you what. On our set today, we have literally a man who is at the very pinnacle of knowledge about what's going on in across the board in immigration. You know, immigration affects us all, our farms,
Yes.
our homes, who mows our lawns,
Absolutely.
and takes our dishes and does so many things. So I'm very proud to introduce Win Eaton. Win is an attorney here in Bakersfield, California, with offices also up in Oregon. Win is well, let me just brag on him a minute. Win, if I may. There's about 250,000 lawyers here in California. There is only a tiny fraction of those lawyers, of those 250,000, maybe 150, something like that, who are highly credentialed across the board, so that they earn the title immigration specialist. Well, Win is one of those, and he is just back from Boston, Massachusetts, meeting with the head of Homeland Security and all of the top officials involved in immigration, and really is here from the horse's mouth. So Win, we're very privileged to have us. And then sitting in with us, of course, is Ed Davis, our chief agronomist here in this area, who is also very keenly aware of things dealing with immigration. I've asked Ed just to sit in case he might have a question more knowledgeable than we'll know how to ask.
Right,
so
Don.
Win, just start us off. Let's first go right into the tragedy on our southern borders. What did you learn in Boston? What's going on with our response to this tragedy?
Well, unfortunately, it's kind of like deja vu all over again. From the early 1980s, we had more than 1 million refugees fleeing Central and South America with those same countries at play. We had Honduras, and particularly El Salvador. You remember the death squads, Guatemala, and then after the tremendous natural disasters we had in the region, and that forced a tremendous influx of people to the United States. And the United States government went through the same political gymnastics then as they are now on how to deal with this crisis. And then there was a church in Tucson. I remember, I believe it was Pastor Fife, a Presbyterian church, who set up a sanctuary and said, you know what, we really need to respond from the faith community with this human tragedy. And the United States government's response was to prosecute Pastor Fife, and he did 5 years of probation. as a result, but that launched the sanctuary movement across the United States and some of the major cities. The same thing is going on here now, but much, much smaller numbers. I think the numbers in some respects, I don't want to downplay this, it's a very serious crisis. These families are desperate to find a way to protect their children. Some of these children are as young as a couple of years old, 2 or 3, 4 years old. Others are up to 16, 17, 18 years old, but they're all suffering from the same problem, and that's fleeing tremendous violence that I think the United States, I'm sorry to say, has neglected. There are a number of things that we should have been doing in recent years. I remember John Dellenbach was head of the Organization of American States back in our time in politics down in the 1980s.
Right.
And under the Ronald Reagan era, there was a tremendous influence that we were exercising over Central and South America to try to control this problem at its root. And I think that's sorely been neglected in recent years, and it's been allowed to fester. And many of the policies in the United States, in my opinion, have exacerbated conflict in the region.
Really?
And forced the tremendous human suffering that's going on.
What was the response from Boston as you and your peers meet, and with the head of Homeland Security, you look down there? What's the response now? Is it positive? Is it helpful?
When you talk about the kind of influx of people here, unfortunately, the United States government has little political and legal distinction from adults to children, and that's the message that we were trying to get out to the country's leadership, is that we need to protect these children. These are not violators of our system. These are desperate children looking for a life, just an opportunity to stay alive. And for instance, all immigration proceedings in the United States are civil. So there is no Sixth Amendment right to counsel. And I don't want to get into a lot of legal inside baseball kind of things here, but this is pretty fundamental. I think everyone in the United States understands that we have, as U.S. citizens, a fundamental right to the constitutional protections, and among those is the right to counsel under the Sixth and the Fifth Amendment. Well, if it's a civil proceeding, there is no right to counsel. So these children will be thrown before an immigration court if they're allowed due process at all, and then their chances of succeeding. How does a child at 12 years old defend themselves against a well-trained government attorney from Homeland Security? It's not fair, because the immigration courts are actually civil administrative bodies under the Department of Justice. So the same person who signs the paycheck for those Department of Justice judges, the immigration judges, is the Attorney General of the United States, also signs the paycheck for the attorneys who represent the United States government in the Department of Justice and the Department of Homeland Security. Mm-hmm. So there is no Article III protection. Article III court is a federal district court or a federal court of appellate proceedings, and all under the jurisdiction of the United States Supreme Court. That's the third branch of government, the judicial branch. Those are Article III guarantees of the Constitution. None of that applies to immigration proceedings. So fundamentally, when somebody is an immigration violator in the United States, and I use the word violator intentionally because they are not lawbreakers, which implies criminal activity. When somebody enters the United States, they have not committed a criminal act. They have offended our civil code, and they're entitled only to civil proceedings, which sometimes the result of which are every bit and maybe more so as consequential as a criminal verdict of guilty, where they may be deported back to a country where they face near certain death or persecution or some other horrible human tragedy where maybe they were the spouse of a United States citizen. They have U.S. citizen children here. Now they're going to be removed to their home country, and there is no protection there, and there's no guaranteed right to counsel.
So those who cross the border, they're considered violators.
Yes.
Okay, and not criminals. Okay.
I have a question. So if this is a civic problem, Does the civic problem belong to Fed, state, city, county? Who is actually responsible? Because civic implies that it belongs to the state and or city and or county. Is Fed involved in civic activity, or who should
Very
be pursuing
good question, Ed. Very good question. It goes back to the early 1800s with a Supreme Court case that was something to do with the Stranahan Steamboat Company that essentially stood for the proposition that all matters immigration are under the plenary power, the absolute power of Congress. So
Wow.
that's why.
That brings us to Kevin McCarthy. We'll get to that in a minute.
That is exactly right. And that is why there's been so much misunderstanding in our communities across the country, border to border and coast to coast, about states that are so frustrated in having to deal with the consequences of inaction by Congress on immigration policy that have caused hospitals and clinics to be overrun, to cause state expenditures in areas that the states can least afford. The federal government has neglected those responsibilities, but states still do not have the jurisdiction to pass laws directly affecting immigration policy.
So we deal with the consequences, but with no power to change anything.
Alabama's tried it, Utah has tried it, Arizona certainly tried it, as we all well know, and each time they've largely been struck down. There's very little that states can do to impact immigration policy in the United States.
We're going to need to take a break, but when we come back, we absolutely must come to the question now. We now have our Congressman Kevin McCarthy as the second most powerful man in the majority there in Congress, and what is he doing or not doing? And
I think we should have him on to talk about that.
yes, you bet.
Yes.
All right, Ed, good question. Thanks for being with us, and stay
Yes.
right with us. We'll be right back.
I'm a comparison shopper. I shopped around. I did look on the internet, and in shopping around, it was the best price.
We decided to switch over to Personal Express because we saved so much.
We got a pretty good discount with when we put our house and our cars together.
Switching over saved me $300 a month.
And I have had insurance companies call me, and when I tell them what I'm paying for the insurance, they tell me we cannot beat that.
Low rates with the local advantage. That's Personal Express.
Save 50 to 90% with the Bakersfield Californians Daily Deal featured on Bakersfield.com. A daily deal is offered each weekday on services from local restaurants, dry cleaners, health and beauty services, retail shops, and local activities for the entire family. The daily deal is 100% local. Find these amazing deals only at dailydeal.bakersfield.com.
Introducing TBC Mobile from the Bakersfield Californian. The most complete news, sports, weather, video, opinion, and lifestyle coverage in Bakersfield and Kern County. It's the easiest way to stay up to date on all things local while on the go. Read it on your smartphone or tablet. Download now by searching Bakersfield Californian in the Apple, Google, and Amazon app stores.
The Bakersfield Californian is a great read on the iPad, but did you know that the Bakersfield Californian is available on your Kindle Fire? Or how about Google's Nexus 7, the Nook? You bet! You can also read a full replica of the newspaper on your Android-powered smartphone, on Apple's iPhone, or on your laptop. We have a solution for any device. E-Edition is free for subscribers, or just $7.99 a month. The Bakersfield Californian. We're everywhere and anytime. Subscribe today. Bakersfield.com.
Kern Business Journal contains news and information from local business leaders and organizations. Topics include agriculture, health and medical, energy, real estate, and more. Visit KernBusinessJournal.com to find out how to subscribe or where to pick up a free copy. To inquire about advertising in the bi-monthly Business Journal, call 395-7586. Find us online on Facebook and Twitter, as well as on KernBusinessJournal.com.
If you own or operate a private dental practice and need help with claim submissions, claim follow-ups, updating patients' accounts, or posting insurance payments, turn to Thorne Dental Claim Professionals. TDCP is dedicated to providing trained dental claim specialists to take care of your dental insurance billing and claims. Your patients are your #1 priority, so give them the attention they need by trusting in TDCP to take care of your administrative tasks. For more information, visit www.dentalclaimprofessionals.com or call them today.
And welcome back to Open Up. Okay, we want to tell you about someone who's very special to me, and that is Robert Miller of Kern Construction and Electric. Chris, yes, thank you very much for putting that on the screen. Kern Construction and Electric are one of our sponsors for this segment, and Robert is a longtime construction contractor and electrician.
You can do it all.
Thank you, Don. Fabulous work. Anyway, his telephone number for contact is 661-322-5554. That's 322-5554.
And also, this segment of Open Up is brought to you in part by BakersFit.com. We're talking about Bill Robison, voted the #1 trainer in Kern County, for 2 years in a row. And Bill is absolutely committed to our health and to our strength and fitness. You won't find a better place to go. So check it out, BakersFit.com.
Yes.
All right, we're here talking with truly privileged to have one of California's foremost authorities on immigration matters. We're just scratching the surface, as they will tell you. There's so many things to talk about. But, Wen, let's just get into some of the politics of the thing, because we have to do that. We now have a congressman that's the very top of the heap in this matter, and has gone one way, gone the other way. And so what advice would you have for our own Kevin McCarthy?
Well, you know, Don, lawyers would like to talk about strictly the issue of law and policy, and we venture into things like opinion, then we get a little edgy about it. But I'm just going to spill it out there for you because you've asked me to do so, and I do have some opinions about this. But understand, these are my opinions.
Well, it's called Open Up, so here we go.
It's based in some pretty hard fact. Historically, the Republican Party has been supported by business groups, by industries, particularly agriculture, and small woodland owners and grass seed growers and dairymen associations and food processors across the United States. And in recent years, with the discussion of immigration policy and the labor problems that's caused for these key industries that have historically supported the Republican Party, there's a fracturing that's taken place. There's a restructuring that's taken place that I think is going to fundamentally and historically change the funding base of politics in America. And those are I think, pretty clear indications of where we're going in America.
And where are we going?
Well, I think we're going to a place where we're going to see splinter groups, such as what we call the Tea Party groups. I think they would have been a great deal more effective had they stuck with the issues of the original Tea Party and taxation and representation issues, but that's not happened. Now, that particular group, who fundamentally I agreed with at their foundation, but I think they've gone off in areas that are not well thought through. And immigration is one of those areas that I think there are no winners for the Republican Party in this area. And I think the sooner Republicans can wake up to that realization that it's their own history and their own fundamental base of support that is going to be forced to separate from Republican support, the sooner we can do that, the better. And I say that. You know some of my history. That I'm not saying that as well. Let me just put it this way. I had a skiing incident with Arnold Schwarzenegger at Mammoth here a few years ago. I love the downhill snow ski, and the steeper, the deeper, the better, and the faster, the better for me. I'm kind of an adrenaline junkie. But Arnold was skiing with me one day, and I generally seek out the old folks that look like they know what they're doing to see what I can learn a little bit. And I followed this old codger, and it turned out to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. As we were riding the lift together, he took off his helmet, he looked at me, he said, "A Republican immigration lawyer. Well, I'll be damned. So my Republican roots are quite conservative, and they go deep. I was with the Ronald Reagan re-election committee in 1984 in Oregon. I chaired the party up there, as you know, for a number of years. You and I were running a similar race in Oregon politics back in the day. And Newt Gingrich and I were acquainted with the GOPAC and the Contractor America lobbying efforts over the years. And I think Newt and I share some very deep concerns about the Republican Party in a way that we're dividing families. We're supposed to be the party of family values, but we have no understanding and seemingly no concern about the human suffering that we're inflicting on families. And it goes to the issue of loving v. Virginia. I'm going to get into inside baseball here, but back in the 1960s and 70s, there was a tremendous discussion in the United States about interracial marriage. The United States Supreme Court came down very solid, 9-zip decision, Loving v. Virginia, that said that any American has a fundamental right to marry anybody they want to marry. Well, in 1996, that all went away, and nobody seems to know about it, and nobody seems to care, because we passed a major immigration reform bill that says that if a United States citizen marries their high school sweetheart who happens to have been brought here as a child, maybe 6 days old, grown up in the United States, gone to American schools, believes they're a United States citizen, and then find out that they can't get a Social Security number because actually the parents packed them across the border in a backpack. There is no mechanism in American law or policy to fix their situation without separating that child or that now adult wife of a U.S. citizen for 10 years. She has to leave unless that couple can demonstrate extreme and unusual hardship on the U.S. citizen spouse. The children don't even count in these proceedings.
Shocking.
Ed, what do you have to say?
It's all pretty scary. It's been a situation that has evolved, and I've read about this and know a lot about it, and I'm just continually appalled by our lack of humanitarianism, and nobody's more of a conservative Republican than I am. But it goes, in my mind's eye, this thing all goes to the war that we are fighting on our southern border with regard to the reality that we have actually two incredibly serious problems in our southern border. One is humanitarian, the other one is drug flow, which is propagating the humanitarian necessity because of the drug lords in, like, Honduras is the most dangerous place in the world, including Pakistan and Iran, Iraq, Syria. It's the most dangerous place in the world. And I loved what I heard a woman say on CNN last night, that I would rather my children die trying to get to America than to stay here and be gunned down by the cartel. It's tragic.
Oh, wow.
It's that goes to the heart of this whole thing with regard to my philosophical position on where politicians need to be going, where our Army, Navy, Marines, Coast Guard need to be going, and trying to do everything we can to disseminate this terrible problem that we have on our southern border, which again is twofold. It's not one, it's two. One is propagating the other.
You know, fundamentally, we need more involvement with Central and South America, fighting the drug cartels and the extortion rings and the human trafficking and the suffering that's been inflicted on the United States as a matter of national security, but more importantly, as a matter of human survival here. We need to do something about this. You know, I was involved with the United States Coast Guard back in the 1970s, and one of our primary missions off of the western states' coastal waters was drug interdiction. And we had a lot of very effective arrests and had intelligence gathering. I'm sure there's a great deal more that I was actually an intelligence officer for a little while on a major investigation through the country of Peru, where we had internal problems, where we had Coast Guardsmen who were in the process of trying to smuggle cocaine. And it was a terrible blight. Mm-hmm. Two stories that would...
We've got 2 minutes, Jenna.
Two stories that would very quickly show the level of ignorance and ignorance not being a derogatory term, but just lack of information. The Chief Justice of the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals is Alex Kaczynski here last year. Judge Kaczynski, whom I have a great deal of respect for, was in a debate with me and one of our immigration attorneys, Margaret Stock, who's a Defense Department well-respected attorney. I brought out this discussion. It was at the Federalist Society. It's kind of a conservative think tank, legal matters. Judge Kaczynski, I was talking about Loving v. Virginia, and he stood up and he said, "Counselor, we have ways to protect citizens' spouses who are foreign nationals." And he says, I just disagree with you. So the next three panelists got up and said, "No, Mr. Eaton is right." Well, at the interim session, Judge Kaczynski came over, and I thought, gee, am I in trouble? Because I have cases pending at the Ninth Circuit at any given time. He grabbed my arm, we walked down, and we spent the next entire plenary session talking about that issue that I just described in the last little discussion here. And my wife has been telling me for years, always focus on those, what we call DREAM Act kids that are innocent, that are now married to U.S. citizens, because people don't understand how flawed American policy is. So we don't have time for the other little story. We'll do that another time.
All right.
But
when we really want you back,
Yes,
they're just too much. So we'll just
yeah.
take a show and do it.
Yes.
Let's put up some contact information, how you can get into. It's Eaton and Associates, Attorneys at Law. There's his website at federalimmigration.us. And he's right here in Bakersfield, right down in all the antique district there, helping to rebuild and remodel that whole area. He's doing amazing things with buildings. He's got a Fresno location there on Van Ness, folks. There's his, and then he's got an Oregon location up in Philomath, a little tiny town up there that I used to come in with loading railroad cars when I was working for the railroad up there. So and thanks for sitting in. We're going to save you for the last segment, Ed. I know you've got a lot to say on that. So God bless you and in your work, and I hope your voice achieves great influence.
And thank you, Tina. It was just a pleasure to meet you. And thank you for breakfast this morning. These are terrific. This is like something I would find in Eugene, Oregon. I love it.
Eugene, Oregon, the last refuge of the terminally hip.
Yes.
School of the quacks.
You're so welcome. Thank you for joining us on Open Up, and we will have him back. A whole show, Don. I listening to him and have a lot of questions.
Let me say it. Coming up, one of the funnest events you can ever attend here in Bakersfield. We're going to hear about that, right, Tina?
Yes. So stay with us.
If you own or operate a private dental practice and need help with claim submissions, claim follow-ups, updating patients' accounts, or posting insurance payments, turn to Thorne Dental Claim Professionals. TDCP is dedicated to providing trained dental claim specialists to take care of your dental insurance billing and claims. Your patients are your #1 priority, so give them the attention they need by trusting in TDCP to take care of your administrative tasks. For more information, visit www.dentalclaimprofessionals.com or call them today.
Buying a home is one of the most important decisions you can make. Scott Tobias Real Estate is here for you. Allow our seasoned and professional associates guide you through every step of the way. Scott Tobias Real Estate is a full-service real estate company providing expert assistance in residential and commercial real estate. The real estate business has changed in many ways over the years, but the desire for excellent customer service is still very much in demand. Our objective is not to be the biggest, but to offer the best real estate services. We're open 7 days a week.
Follow the Gades live on Bakersfield.com every Saturday during football season. Every Bakersfield College football game will be broadcast live on Bakersfield.com starting September 6th when the Gades visit Riverside. Follow the action on Bakersfield.com Saturday, September 6th at 6 o'clock. Join the Bakersfield Californian and Bakersfield College exclusively on Bakersfield.com.
Save 50 to 90% with the Bakersfield Californians Daily Deal featured on Bakersfield.com. A daily deal is offered each weekday on services from local restaurants, dry cleaners, health and beauty services, retail shops, and local activities for the entire family. The daily deal is 100% local. Find these amazing deals only at dailydeal.bakersfield.com.
Hi, Corey Costello here, host of Roadrunner Rundown, Tuesdays, 10 a.m. right here on Bakersfield.com. It's the official program of CESUB Athletics. We bring you inside the program with interviews with coaches and student athletes. Of course, everybody's favorite Corey versus. I mean, people like to see me in embarrassing athletic situations. And, of course, we'll have all the highlights from around the Roadrunners as well. So join us for Roadrunner Rundown, Tuesdays, 10 a.m. right here on Bakersfield.com.
The Bakersfield Californian is a great read on the iPad, but did you know that the Bakersfield Californian is available on your Kindle Fire? Or how about Google's Nexus 7, the Nook? You bet. You can also read a full replica of the newspaper on your Android-powered smartphone, on Apple's iPhone, or on your laptop. We have a solution for any device. E-Edition is free for subscribers, or just $7.99 a month. The Bakersfield Californian. We're everywhere and anytime. Subscribe today. Bakersfield.com.
And welcome back to Open Up. I'm Tina Miller.
Don Clark, your favorite pair on the air.
Yes, and we're so glad you joined us. So don't forget, if you're not checking us out on Facebook, do so and like us.
You bet.
Yes.
Beautiful decor here.
Oh, thank you, Don. Yes, of course. How could we forget Denise Haddock? Denise Haddock Interior Designs. Such lovely, lovely bouquet here. The colors, Don, look at how they pop.
I know it. I know it.
And that was her
Really
intention
is.
this morning, too, was to make it pop. Because
Sitting on furniture provided by Stinson. So I always like to get plugged where we can.
Thank you, Stinsons. Okay, what do we have this segment?
You know, what could be more fun than all the people you see and hear every day on television and on radio locally getting together and just getting, that's a kind of a miracle in itself, coming together and putting on a huge media music jam at the Crystal Palace on behalf of a little girl fighting cancer, and all the money going to that. And here to tell us all about it is a regular contributor to the Bakersfield Californian, Steve Flores, and Michelle Avila, who's a part of Media Music Jam.
Yes.
And you're with the new Kern Cancer Foundation, which keeps money local to fight cancer. So
over $420,000 each year we keep local for the local patients.
And you're a new organization, and people are just pouring in to support you and get behind you. It's wonderful to see what this community is doing.
Well, there's such a huge need that we need that support to continue.
Well, first of all, Steve, tell us about the jam itself. Who's in? When's it going to happen?
It's going to happen June 28th, this Saturday at the Crystal Palace, right? We have 22 media personalities that have been rehearsing and practicing with us for the last several months to get ready for the show. So it's not just a walk-on or a throwaway gig for us. I mean, the Crystal Palace is hallowed ground for us in terms of music, and we want to respect the stage. So everybody's been practicing, and we're all ready for the show. It's plenty of good seats left, $25 a ticket. Go down to the Crystal Palace to buy your tickets.
Really quickly, they have it on the screen. Media Music Jam, Buck Owens, Crystal Palace, 2800 Buck Owens Boulevard. That is this Saturday, June 28th, and it's from 7 to 10 p.m. Tickets $25. Telephone number for contact 661-328-7560.
When this show's over, I'm driving down and buying my ticket.
Oh, yes. Wonderful. Tell us more. Now, is this the first year for this, or?
Well, it's our second year at the Crystal Palace.
Second
the
year,
Majestics is the band that is what we call the backup band for the whole night.
Okay.
The Majestics is celebrating 50 years this year of being together here in the community. And since we've been together 50 years, what we want to do is give back to different causes. For the last 15 years, we've been doing a media jam for different purposes and causes. But we found a home with the Kern County Cancer Fund and with the Crystal Palace. So as long as the Palace will have us there, and as long as Michelle will have us there,
always,
then we're going to do that. But I have a question for you, Tina. Now I know Don can sing, but can you?
Not like Dawn.
But can you sing?
I can sing.
Can you give me just a little taste of it right now? Just something?
You're just too good to be true.
I don't know that one, but I know Amazing Grace.
Oh, you're in. I got to hold your hand. Oh, my God, that's so beautiful. Look, I just got chills. I did.
Steve, 2015, right?
Yeah,
next year.
2015, you're in.
2015.
You're in.
I'll be 15.
Don's in, you're in, so that's good. We're already building the show for next year.
You know, and I'll tell you what, all of you who come to this show, it's always amazing how much talent and how good the talent is locally. I mean, Mike Hart can sing like Frank Sinatra. I mean, he can sing almost any genre. He's terrific.
Can Lisa Kirsch sing? I'd like to know.
You know, I don't know. She's not been on this show yet. I don't know if she can. I know she can write.
She
and I know
can
she
do
can
everything.
Anchor.
Lisa, we want to know. Can you sing?
Lisa. She can do anything.
But you don't have to sing. You can play guitar or
Right.
cowbell.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, you know, not only can Mike Hart sing, but the whole morning crew from Channel 23 is going to be there. I mean, it's going to be Elena Brusk, Lauren Titus, Aaron Briscoe, and Mike Hart. It's the whole morning crew that's going to be there. So they're just it's going to be so much fun.
Wow.
And there's a curiosity factor, like you're saying, Don, that people just want to come and see Cantina really sing, and so they'll pay the $25 to come and see if she can, which is great because all the proceeds go to the Kern County Cancer Fund, and it's very surprising at the talent that most of them have when they come, and some of them it's just the energy that they bring and that they would lend their name to this, knowing where the money goes is what God has blessed us with. That's so beautiful that they would do that. So
wow.
You know, there's an old saying that the difference you're in newspapers, Steve, and we're in television. The difference between television is that said that all newspaper people are shy egomaniacs. But in television, we're no longer shy. We're just straight out egomaniacs.
You know what's so great about that comment, Don? This is what happens every year. Each one of them, not each one, but most of them will come up to me before the show and they'll go, Steve, I'm so nervous about going up on stage. You know, usually it's a small studio with just a couple people. Now it's a sold-out crowd here at the Crystal Palace, and there's no teleprompter. It's just me, and so they're very nervous about it. And the other part of it is most of them say that this whole initiative of trying to help the Kern County Cancer Fund is personal to them because someone in their family has battled with cancer. And some who are performing with us, their family are now currently going through that. So it's personal for a lot of the people that are going to be appearing on the show.
Now, Michelle, I understand that this particular concert is focused on one special little girl. Is that correct?
Yes. She's the face of the Kern County Cancer Fund for the Media Music Jam. Her name is Faith, and she's a 2-year-old little girl who unfortunately has rhabdomyosarcoma and has been going through I think over 47 weeks of treatment for her cancer. And so we have assisted her and her family with the medical expenses associated with her cancer. And she'll be out there on Saturday night, her and her family, to talk about their journey.
I'm so glad that you guys have started something local, where money can stay locally and help local people. That's a very special thing you're doing.
And do you two sing?
Well, you know what I do?
Okay.
I'll back you up if you sing. Don and I will back you up if you sing a song. Right, Don? Is that a deal?
That's a deal.
On the air live?
All right.
Okay.
On the air.
I don't sing. I'm a roadie. So I help support, but no.
Okay.
You don't want to hear me sing.
A roadie, one who supports, or
it's one who supports the band.
Okay. All right. And no, you don't play any musical instrument, or?
She sings.
She sings.
Yeah, she's shy right now, but she sings. So.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to have Channel 23, the whole morning crew. We're going to have Jim Scott. You know Jim Scott, of course.
Of course.
Yes, Maddie Jansen.
Oh, yeah.
And from 29, it's, I think, half the station is going
to
be out there with us.
And Jeff Lamucci.
Oh, Jeff Lamucci. God, I love Jeff. Yeah, he's going to be there playing trumpet the whole night with the band. And Ken McLeod from Clear Channel is going to be sitting in with the band the whole night. So.
How wonderful.
It's a beautiful night. There's, no competition between the stations. All Eagles are gone. It's everybody, together on the same stage. You have Channel 17 with Channel 29. You have Clear Channel with Buckley, all on the stage. And all that competition is forgot for one night because they're focusing on helping people.
I think we really do need to comment on the exceptional quality of our local media in terms of laying us exactly what you say, Steve. There have been so many instances where the members of our local media have come together to support important causes, like the Wall of Valor, where the newspaper, all of the television stations, all the radio stations joined together That's really that's unusual. And I think it's pretty exceptional for anything else going on in the land.
It's amazing.
Do you know anything else?
Well, no,
Michelle?
it's just completely entertaining. I went last year for the first year as we were the recipients, and the dance floor is packed. I mean, you can't hardly find a spot because it's just so entertaining, and everybody's having a great time and grooving to the music. So the Majestics, Steve Flores, all of the media who come out, and all the performers, they do such an excellent job, and it's class act.
Steve, I want you to put up Chris, our McCullough, our producer, if you put up, there it is again. We want you to know, hey, come on out.
Yes.
7 to 10, Saturday night. I mean, what else are you going to do? $25, you'll never find more fun and support a better cause than this one. So there it is.
Don, I would love to follow you down and get a ticket, but I'll be in San Diego this weekend. Yes.
Singing?
All right.
I'll sing on the way there.
Okay.
I'm going to take advantage of this. It's just shameless, all right? Now, I didn't get to be on this year's show, but I've got a song. I've written a song. And I've got the words, and I don't have the music. And so if there are musicians out there, we need to connect. And what I kind of hear is kind of a deep country voice, kind of like Big John, Big Bad John.
Don Clark.
Because it's kind of a song that's spoken and needs music background. So here it is.
Yes.
When I came to Bakersfield, it was because of who hired me. He was a legend in the business, Frank Gardner. And he loved to take his talent to greasy spoons. So he took me, the first place he took me when I got to Bakersfield was to Billy Bob's. And Billy Bob served the Belly Buster. And so I have written a ballad called The Ballad of Billy Bob's Belly Buster. Okay. And so musicians, I need music, but here it is.
Now, there's a guitar right there, Don. You want us to grab it?
I don't know how to play it.
Okay.
Even in its heyday, it was just a tiny shack. It was hard enough to get there, even harder to get back. In a rundown part of town that the cops would drive on past, it sat there in the shadow of a nearby overpass. They called it Billy Bob's. Just a counter and some stools. They served the Belly Buster, and they served it up for fools who were dumb enough to tackle a burger all that big. To eat the whole damn thing, you had to be half pig, piled high with juicy patties and triple slabs of cheese, served by an ornery waitress. I think it was Louise, who talked of revolution and the coming of the day you could use the drugs you want. The feds wouldn't have a say. The cooks, he was a biker with one leg in a cast, but he could take a dozen orders and he could turn them out real fast. One would last you for the day, never needed nothing else. Others couldn't hold a candle, all the rest not even close. The address I always recall was on Kentucky Street. It was not the kind of place where the uppity would eat, but the Belly Buster Burger was famed in Bakersfield as the best place in the valley to get a redneck meal. One night the place caught fire. I suspect it was the grease from all the Belly Busters that we rednecks love to eat. Billy Bob's is gone now. It's just an empty lot. But when it comes to burgers, it will never be forgot that the Belly Buster Burger was at the very top.
That is excellent.
Woo-hoo! Yay!
All right. We'll be right back.
That is
If you own or operate a private dental practice and need help with claim submissions, claim follow-ups, updating patients' accounts, or posting insurance payments, turn to Thorne Dental Claim Professionals. TDCP is dedicated to providing trained dental claim specialists to take care of your dental insurance billing and claims. Your patients are your #1 priority, so give them the attention they need by trusting in TDCP to take care of your administrative tasks. For more information, visit www.dentalclaimprofessionals.com or call them today.
I'm Lisa Kirsch, host of Live Well, where every week the pages of Be Well and Bakersfield Life magazines come to life, showcasing living well in Bakersfield and beyond. On the next Live Well, we're on the road for our summer grillin' and chillin' episode with expert barbecue tips, the coolest summer sips, and creating your very own patio oasis. Don't miss the fun on Live Well right here at Bakersfield.com Wednesday morning at 10 a.m.
Kern Business Journal contains news and information from local business leaders and organizations. Topics include agriculture, health and medical, energy, real estate, and more. Visit KernBusinessJournal.com to find out how to subscribe or where to pick up a free copy. To inquire about advertising in the Bi-Monthly Business Journal, call 395-7586. Find us online on Facebook and Twitter, as well as on KernBusinessJournal.com.
The new book is out. That was easy. I would title this thing sort of a description of what raising children is like. That was easy. I've been writing columns now for about 25 years. Writing has always been a conversation. You're taking somebody by the hand for 3 or 4 minutes, and you're not letting go. The new book, That Was Easy. Nothing easy about any of this, but we've had some fun, and I hope you guys will have some fun looking at this book.
The Bakersfield Californian is a great read on the iPad, but did you know that the Bakersfield Californian is available on your Kindle Fire? Or how about Google's Nexus 7, the Nook? You bet. You can also read a full replica of the newspaper on your Android-powered smartphone, on Apple's iPhone, or on your laptop. We have a solution for any device. E-Edition is free for subscribers, or just $7.99 a month. The Bakersfield Californian. We're everywhere and anytime. Subscribe today. Bakersfield.com.
Save 50 to 90% with the Bakersfield Californian's daily deal featured on Bakersfield.com. A daily deal is offered each weekday on services from local restaurants, dry cleaners, health and beauty services, retail shops, and local activities for the entire family. The daily deal is 100% local. Find these amazing deals only at dailydeal.bakersfield.com.
And welcome back to our last segment of Open Up Today. We've had so much fun hearing Don sing on this last segment.
Big John.
You haven't heard the chorus to it. It is fabulous. Maybe another time.
All right.
Don, what are we doing?
Hey, we are here with Ed Davis. What a tremendous citizen, first of all, here in Kern County.
Yes.
What a tremendous resource. He is our leading, not just our leading, but our solo agronomist for this whole area. He can tell any farmer what will grow best in what soil. And Ed, not only that, we were just talking about music. Ed is a tremendous musician. He can sing like Elvis. I mean, who knew? I mean, this guy. And also, if you went up to BC, they are completely redoing the football field up there. It's going to be all natural turf. This is the guy that's heading it up because he knows how to put soil in, turf in. And so, Ed, but this is something else.
Yes.
Just a little story how I met Ed. I was helping the vets. We had a sandwich sale going on over at the VA clinic.
Okay.
Then I was walking around to the businesses, handing out flyers, come over and get a sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
And Ed, it was a hot day, and Ed was my last stop. and I was tired, and he said, "Would you like to sit down, have a bottle of water?" And I said, "Boy, would I ever." Well, that's what we're going to talk about, a bottle of water. And things that he was just sharing with us at the break. I've never heard this stuff. So, Ed, take it away. Bottles of water.
Oh, thank you for having me, and thank you for thinking of me with regard to the conversation that you had with the lawyer Wynn earlier today.
Oh, yes.
It's always wonderful to be around people that know so much more about things than you do, and it's always fun just to sit and listen.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that has a lot to do with what I wanted to talk about today. Probably a lot of people don't know about it, but there is a tremendous amount of, I'm going to call it misapplication of misinformation with regard to toxic products that could, in fact, emanate in drinking water if, in fact, a water bottle is permitted to set out in the sun and simply heat up, or sitting in a hot place to heat up. That thought process that the releases of that chemistry out of the plastic going into warm water will in fact create a situation of cancers or some other thing is in fact incredibly overstated. And I have heard this conversation quite a few times, and I thought it would be an ideal time for us to think about something that we all do. We all consume water, and how we consume water and those types of things. And are there really any things in water bottle of the actual plastic itself that will in fact cause us problems? So I thought it'd be a good idea to research this. And if you look at any bottle that you get, or any type of plastic that you get, you'll see a triangle with a number in it.
Yes.
And that triangle with the number in it will in fact identify what kind of plastic it is. For example, say a triangle with a 1 in it is PET, which is used for like mayonnaise jars and soda pop beverage things and that type of a thing. And the number 2 is HDPE, which is used for small water bottles. And PVC is a triangle number 3, which is used for piping. And things like recycled bags at the grocery store, that is an LDPE. And a triangle with a 6 in it is styrofoam, and a triangle with a 7 in it is polycarbonate or polylactide. And so ultimately, the ones we're really concerned about is a number 2, which is in fact a small water bottle. And the chemistry that everybody's so concerned about is a product called bisphenol A, or BPA, because it is a misunderstood chemical that is part of the structure of some plastics. BPA does not exist in a regular water bottle, one that you'd buy from the store. It doesn't matter which company you get it from. So there isn't any BPA in any water bottles of any kind. So if the water bottle that you're drinking out of happens to sit in the car and you go back out on a hot day and you get in there and you're thirsty, you pick this water bottle up and it's hot, there's nothing in that bottle that can hurt you.
Okay.
Now, conversely, on the number 7 bottle, which is this, and blue, the big 5-gallon jugs that you get from one of the companies, or the 2.5 gallons, that product does in fact have BPA in it.
Okay.
And so if your 5-gallon water bottle or this sets out, and that particular product has the capacity to heat up, at boiling, it will release 55 times the amount of BPA into the environment of that cup, rather than in a cold, even in fact room temperature type of a heating. Now, BPA has never been associated with cancer, but the FDA says it's a good idea for if you are using a code number 7 type plastic, which is, by the way, hard baby bottles, to never give baby a bottle of something that's heated way up and then cooled way off, so that the baby can have it. And again, that number 55 times has to do with boiling. So no one ever takes the temperature for the baby bottle up to boiling. They might take it up to 130 and let it back off. So you put it on. We've all done it. Put it on our wrist and feels good, and the baby has it. So the release of any chemistry has happened during the heating process, and it stays in there once the product has cooled down, whatever's inside of it. Now, so I took the liberty of actually measuring the temperature, because I got all this scientific toys that I have. The hottest we have ever seen bottled water in the sun sitting all day is 140 degrees. So at 140 degrees, the BPA release is almost insignificant. So long story short, regular water bottles don't have any BPA in them. They can heat up in the car. They're not a problem. And if you have this type of a package or some other type of a package, like a 5-gallon water bottle that you get from any of the water suppliers, those do have BPA in them. The release doesn't happen till very, very hot temperatures, which I have never witnessed, even if your 5-gallon water bottle has been sitting out in the backyard in the direct sunlight all day long. It's not going to be an issue.
So you were talking here, this is a needless scare. Is that
it's misapplication of misinformation propagated by people who really don't understand, and the talk of cancer in this thing needs to be discontinued, because quite frankly, it's an irrelevant waste of oxygen to talk about it.
Waste of oxygen.
So it's just a waste.
Now, what I have heard is the more flexible the water bottle is, or the thin plastic, that thing is just the worst to drink water out of.
He's
FDA,
he's just looking at you askance.
Well, it's more the same thing.
Yes.
The FDA will stand flat-footed and look you dead in the eye and tell you that that's nonsense. And who is going to protect themselves more than the FDA with regard to the profound amount of information that they require before you can do anything for anything having to do with human consumption at any level. You have to pass FDA approval. And that is an incredibly scientific, arduous, and very expensive task. So to that information that you have, which is also more the same kind of things, these rumblings, if you will, they're just rumblings, and that's all there is to it.
So then, let me throw this at you. You might have to answer it during another show, but okay. A bottle that is, you've got the flimsy plastic versus one who's got a thicker, and I can name some bottles, but I won't. But so you're saying they do that because maybe it's less expensive for them to make?
It's a different kind of packaging that puts them in a different type of a market.
Okay.
So ultimately, at the end of the day, the type of packaging that you're talking about is specific to a specific plastic's capacity to handle that marketing venue.
Okay.
Conversely, a different kind of plastic won't work.
Okay.
It's too hard, too soft, or like styrofoam. What are you going to do with it?
Okay, I
well,
understand.
Ed, again, great to have you on. Thanks for sitting in with Win. Hey, everybody, hope we see many of you at the Crystal Palace Saturday night. It's going to be a ball, and we're going to be supporting a good cause for a wonderful little girl.
Yes, and thank you so much for joining us today. We do hope you check us out on Facebook and do like us. Thank you. See you next time.